Uh-oh.
Did you say on direct that you saw no previous inter-partner violence? Just yes or no?
Uh-oh.
I don't believe I did.
No. You don't believe that you saw inter-partner violence, or you didn't say it on direct?
I don't believe I said that yesterday.
Here we go. She did? Of course she did.
Your Honor, can we approach?
All right. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Uh-oh. Oh, my God. Is he going to go back and check her logs? Oh, my God. Let's remind her. Yep. He's like, okay. All right. Sounds good. It's like, oh, no. Yep. She's getting her logs checked, boys. This is not looking good at all. Up to 5 years? I think it would be funny. Wouldn't it be fucking funny if they put her in jail for this shit? That'd be hilarious. Oh, my God. That'd be fucking hilarious. Wow. But I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, that's all it comes down to. Like, I just really don't think it's going to happen. But we'll find out soon. I'm so shocked. Like, dude, this lawyer is just, like, you know, like, this is why he became a lawyer. Is for, like, days like this. Where you know that you've got him. They know that you've got him. And they still have to sit there and let you get them. And it's just, oh my God, he's so, yeah, that's, everybody knows. Yeah, well, actually, you said this. Yep, that's, I can guarantee, nah, not guarantee, but I have a good feeling that that's, whenever they unmute, that's exactly what he's going to say. Okay, here we go. According to your logs yesterday.
Did you speak with Ms. Heard around the circumstances that gave rise to the TRO?
With, on May 21st?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did Ms. Heard ever tell you that James Franco spent the night with her at the ECB between May 21 and May 27?
I recall, I mean, again, it would be helpful to have my notes so I can tell you exactly what, but I do recall that she did see him at some point. I do not know if he spent the night.
Do you know if Elon Musk spent the night during that period?
I don't know.
Right.
This girl really gets around. Makes her look bad, she doesn't remember. Yeah, she doesn't have her notes. Like, how could she possibly remember that? What about Jeff Bezos? Yeah. What about Bill Gates?
You cannot testify that Johnny Depp was not abused, can you?
I can testify that he had physical acts of violence perpetrated on him as well as psychological aggressive acts perpetrated upon him.
I wonder, by who?
No further questions.
All right. Redirect.
Yep, no further questions. Okay, there it is. She just said it. Yep, there it is. Why would she say
Dr.
that?
Hughes, you were asked
She had
about
to.
some presentations. I think plaintiff's 1241 was the first one. If we can bring that up, Tom.
God damn. All right, no further questions. I'm done. Damn. I feel sorry for her. Used to be in control and the expert. She just
Yes.
destroyed her career
And
here. Good.
if you can scroll down, what
I
was
think
the
it's funny.
significance of this presentation? And can you give her control, or do you have to have control?
No, she'll start remembering
of the
everything. Yeah,
document?
exactly.
It's just one page? Oh, it's not the entire presentation.
Yeah, she deserves it.
Can
True.
you please tell the jury what you provided in this presentation?
To the best of my recollection, it was what I spoke to you about before of how people who are not trained in forensic psychology but who are working with victims of domestic violence can go into court and navigate with the court system and present and talk about domestic violence in a legal setting.
Okay.
It's a gendered setting, too.
That's been moved
That's
in,
it.
correct?
Another
Okay, well,
gendered
let's go to the one
setting.
that I don't think was 1242, please. Tom, if you could bring that up.
How convenient.
All right, and is that just one page, too?
Yeah, it says expert
pages is
witness.
that one?
Yep, I know. Professional
Okay.
witness, by the way.
Do you recall this presentation, Dr. Hughes?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Could you please just, well, I'm going to move the admission of Plaintiff's Exhibit 1242, first of all.
Any objection? All right, 1242.
Okay. And could we publish it to the jury, please?
Yes, ma'am.
And Dr. Hughes, could you please tell the jury, explain to the jury what this presentation entailed?
So I was asked by the head of the Kings County Bar Association to give a presentation about intimate partner violence, domestic violence, and how psychological experts can be of assistance. This was just because of how Brooklyn is, a bar association that was attended by many of the prosecutors from the Kings County District Attorney's Office, as well as defense attorneys. And as I stated before, this presentation was about how to really understand cases of domestic violence, how to understand what if she drops the restraining order, what if she doesn't call the police, what are the myths and misconceptions about intimate partner violence.
She's not doing it.
She uses force. What does that mean? How do we
she's doing it
understand that?
again.
How do we evaluate for that?
What if?
So again, without seeing the rest of the presentation, I believe
Oh
that
my
was the rest
God.
of this
There we
presentation.
go.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, you testified
Jesus.
about the notes you took and the notes you reviewed, and you were asked about some limited questions on testing. I'm going to ask for Defendant's Exhibit 1434.
Oh my God, man! It's just back to she. Yep. Isn't that convenient?
No, no.
Did Amber Heard file a restraining
we
order
need-
against Johnny Depp?
Thank you, Sammy.
Did she file one against him? She did.
But you were doing a fine job, Tom. I didn't mean to take it away from you. Thank you, Michelle. Dr. Hughes, is this your CV?
Yes, it is.
All right, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's 1434. You're out of completeness. They've got all the other records in here for Dr. Hughes. I'm trying to see completeness.
I understand. I'll sustain the objection.
Okay.
Next question.
Let's go to Defendant's 1435, please. Now, Dr. Hughes, you've testified about the different testings that you administered, and this was one of the ones that I believe you testified to earlier, correct?
That's correct.
And this is the DSM-5?
This is the clinician-administered PTSD scale for the DSM-5.
Okay. I'm going to move the admission of 1435.
Any objection?
Comment on what you've seen so far. I thought we got rid of public executions, but apparently we didn't.
It's not the CAPS, it's the DSM-5.
That's what I would say.
But she administered all these tests. Your
Oh,
Honor,
my
and
God.
For completeness of record, they can't put in partials
Yeah.
and then not have the rest of it. I think
Well, I mean,
And I'm here for it,
there was no
man.
objection to when they put theirs in.
I would
Now
say-
they're objecting to you putting.
I
was
would
worse than
say
Amber
rule
right
of
now?
completeness, Your Honor, Rule
Yeah.
2, Virginia Rule 2:106, that they can't just put a partial in and then not have the completeness of the testing. in the
Yeah, this
document.
woman's way worse.
They put their test in. Now you
She's
wanna put more
infecting a
tests
bunch of
in,
people.
correct?
Correct.
Amber Heard's just a crazy
But
bitch.
that's not a completeness argument.
This one's
then. That's just
vindictive.
a different test.
Well, it's
but
also,
what's the
She's on a
objection, though?
crusade.
That there's.
She's a million
All right, I'll
times
sustain the
worse.
objection. Next.
all right, well, then we'll go for the other ones. You did the TSI. Well, before we go on to the others, let's talk about, could you please tell the jury what you administered in this DSM-5 and why this is significant?
It's true.
Sustain.
Can you tell us why the DSM-5 is significant that you administered?
So the DSM-5 is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Psychiatric Disorders. It's published by the American Psychiatric Association. That's where it has all the criteria and all the information for our major mental disorders like major depressive disorder or panic disorder or PTSD. What the CAPS is, the clinician-administered PTSD scale, is it follows all of that criteria that's in the DSM-5 so that you can make a very accurate diagnosis.
And what, if any, diagnosis did you make as a result of this DSM-5?
Right. So not only on this, I mean, this instrument can stand alone where she meets PTSD criteria. just by virtue of this instrument, pardon me, but also the other testing that I gave where she had elevated scales on PTSD measures which correspond with the DSM-5 symptoms of PTSD. So there were multiple measures that are consistent across time that she meets criteria for PTSD.
No, isn't that convenient?
Thank you, Dr. Hughes. Now, you were also given 1 page of the scoring on the TSI.
Well, she was talking on Amber.
2
that one's
and
okay.
1 page with respect to the PAI. Do you recall seeing that?
It wasn't the scoring, they were the critical items on those respective tests.
Okay, well, I'm going to ask to bring up Defendant's Exhibit 1858. Which is the full PAI. And was this the actual testing and scoring?
Yes, this is the profile, the scores that are generated from the 344 questions that Ms. Heard answered on this test.
And what were the results? What did you determine based on the testing of this PAI?
Well, that the results were valid and reportable. There was no evidence of exaggeration or malingering on this test, and there were significant symptoms that correspond with traumatic stress and post-traumatic stress disorder symptomatology.
And I believe you said again that there was no elevated scores. Can you explain to the jury what you meant by that?
Objection leading.
Overruled. Go ahead.
So elevated scores are a way that we get to know where a cutoff is to say that something is clinically significant, and that follows very standard statistical principles. So when a scale is elevated, it means that we have sort of greater confidence that this individual endorsed a lot of different symptoms that make this scale relevant, and then we want to figure out why that person is having an elevated score on something like depression or anxiety. It gives us greater confidence that, this person's maybe reporting depressive symptoms like people who are depressed.
Okay. And what would constitute an elevated score?
Well, on different tests, it's different things. Certainly on the PAI, it doesn't follow linear T-scores. It's a little different statistically, so you have to look at it differently.
She
but
seems more comfortable rambling
it's
now.
usually about a T-score of a 65.
That's exactly it.
And on some, it's a T-score of a 70, which is a T-score is a normative curve, is a way of allowing us to compare people's scores, comparing your scores to the normative group of scores.
And would it be at all helpful to have the entire test as opposed to a one piece of paper or 1 page?
Well, certainly you cannot tell the entirety of how the symptoms that Ms. Heard endorsed and the scales were elevated just by the critical items.
All right, I'm going to move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 1858.
Objection, hearsay.
And this is the completeness, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Oh.
Let's bring up 1859.
Oh. Get it out of here. Get that shit out of here. Notice, people mention this. She looks at the jury whenever she talks to them with Amber's lawyer.
You were shown 1 page from the TSI.
At the beginning, she looked only at the jury.
The trauma symptom inventory 2. Do you recall that?
Obviously, emotional manipulation.
Okay.
Obviously.
What is the significance of the TSI 2 exam, the full exam?
The trauma symptom inventory is a test of common symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder and related traumatic symptomatology. And on this score, she had, elevations in intrusive experiences, which is the intrusive component of PTSD, where thoughts or memories or feelings come into your mind when you don't want them, with accompanying distress. And then the defensive avoidance, doing many, many different things to push it down, to try not to think about it, to try not to talk about it, so that you don't get upset. And she also scored high on a scale of relational avoidance, having difficulty feeling close in relations and relationships, not only intimate relationships, but friendships as well. And that's a related trauma symptom that individuals have after having sustained an interpersonal trauma like domestic violence.
Okay. And would it be helpful to have the full exam as opposed to 1 page out of it?
As with anything, seeing an entire profile gives one more information.
Your Honor, I'd move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 15 for 1859,
Objection, hearsay.
and I would argue the
If we
completeness
could
rule
approach
again.
for this.
Uh-oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna mute this. There we go. This is just like, it's nuts to me. It's so fucking annoying because she wants the objection. Yeah, exactly. And it's just so fucking annoying to see this because it's like the emotional manipulation is like right there in plain sight. And this is why I said I'm so glad to see this case go live and everybody see it, because you fucking see her looking at the jury while she's talking to Amber's lawyer and like putting on a performance for them. But meanwhile, whenever she's talking to Johnny's lawyer, she's looking only at him and she never makes eye contact with the jury. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just, it's so obvious what's going on here. 100% manipulation. Yes, it's 100% manipulation. If you knew you were right, you wouldn't need to do that.
Dr. Hughes, you were asked.
You would just tell the truth and prove it.
You were shown a
Isn't
couple
that
of
interesting?
finger pictures of Mr. Depp.
Acting 101,
I
yeah.
believe you indicated those were shown to you, and I think you were asked if these were severe injuries, correct?
Correct.
All right. Did you have any understanding of the cause of those injuries by Mr. Depp?
I do understand that there's competing accounts of what happened, for sure.
All right.
Oh,
Let's bring up Defendant's Exhibit
competing accounts.
373.
Oh my God. It's not, this isn't biased at all, guys.
Your Honor, I think this is already admitted.
I don't see it, and Jamie doesn't have it, so
Yeah,
373.
it's funny.
I
Like,
can
I
mark
wish he
it.
had asked her,
But it's not admitted
Johnny's
yet.
lawyer,
I
if she had
think
ever testified
there was
against a
a version
woman.
of that. If I may,
I don't know that.
Your Honor,
I can
I
just tell you
wonder
that
if that's ever
373 has
happened.
not been admitted into evidence.
Your Honor, it's not redacted, and I don't believe it's been admitted.
They did? Oh, I
part
didn't
I'm
see
trying
that
to
one?
admit is in another exhibit, so let's go it a different way. We'll take that one down. Let's go with
Oh, in
398.
same-sex relationships, of course, right? Oh, of course. Yeah, that makes perfect
398
sense.
redacted isn't evidence.
That might be the one.
Oh my God.
All right. If you could lower that up.
This takes a bit unfair to her. She's here to win, and so is Johnny's witness. I feel like it's very different whenever you have like a friend versus like a medical
I think
professional.
we're looking for.
Like a medical
could move
professional
that
is
up,
not
Michelle.
there to win. The medical professional is there to expose the truth.
There we go.
They're not there to
Lower
win.
that one up. And this is an email from Mr.
Massive
Depp
fucking
to
difference.
David Kipper. Your understanding was that was his doctor, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then I'm going to draw your attention to the last part of this, and this is on 3/19/2015. Thank you for everything. I gotta figure out how to do this. I'm missing the controls on this.
If he doesn't want to say anything, to come back
Thank
to
you
it.
for
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
I've chopped off my left middle finger as a reminder that I should, thank you, Your Honor, that I should never cut off my finger again. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so that's Mr. Depp admitting that to Dr. Kipper in 3/19/2015.
Objection leading.
Okay,
I'll sustain the objection next.
okay, that's fine. I'm good with that. Let's go to Defendant's Exhibit 499.
Okay. He cut off his own finger. Yeah, I'm sure that's what he
Your Honor, I
did.
believe this one is in
Absolutely.
as well, or is it a
It's a
redacted?
redacted one.
Totally makes sense,
That's okay.
guys.
Thank you.
He was protecting her from, yeah,
And
exactly.
then if I could draw your attention, this is a text message from Mr. Depp to Erin Falati. We talked about her earlier on 10/31/2015. And And it says, this is the second time he's held off giving me my meds by blackmailing me into seeing him. The first time I had just chopped my finger off. Do you recall seeing that as part of the documents that you reviewed?
Oh, yeah.
I believe I did.
Okay, thank you. We can take that down.
Doctors do that.
Now, you were also asked to listen to an audio tape, and it's plaintiff's 343. I'm going to, and do you recall listening to that audio tape at some point?
You think he didn't want to go to jail? I don't know.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
No
I'm
different
going
than
to
saying I
now
broke my arm?
pull up
Yeah.
that same audio tape.
Yeah, that's actually,
from the
that's
same
good,
date,
yeah.
And I believe that's June 2016.
Yeah.
And if we could go to, and we're going to have a few different ones, so hold in there with us. We're going to start with 2 minutes 40 seconds 00, going to 2 minutes 40 seconds and 21.
Oh my God.
Knocking on the door. I don't
Because
get
that
why
is a
one
fucking
informs the other.
irrational
Oh, here we go.
and violent fucking maneuver.
How
So
does
a
one
man would
inform
want
the
to
other?
get out of that area so that he doesn't get so fucking angry that he actually does pop the fucking wife.
How does one inform the other?
Oh, man. Go home and listen to the tape.
Now, that was just before the punching, hitting that was played. Do you recall that?
Objection leading.
Well, the tape recording that you listened to was at 2:46:01 to 2:47:20, and that was 2:40 through 2:40:21. Correct?
I understand.
Objection leading.
Okay. Now let's go to after that.
Overruled, go ahead.
Thank you. Now let's go to after that, 2:52:00 to 2:52:34.
Okay.
Just yesterday.
It's a clip out of context. Yeah, it's
Because
in the context of her hitting him. Of course you'd want to hit somebody back that's hitting you.
Since Australia,
Duh.
and I have been on the road with you. I haven't been working. I don't know what else I could fucking do.
Since Australia, you've gone on a honeymoon. You had a great time over there in the back. We had a fight in the train.
Yeah.
Physical.
Yeah, this lawyer is a mod for LSF.
Then we had a fight in San Francisco. But I thought everything else was great. There's some long reminiscence from Australia.
I can't even hear what they're saying. Yeah, I can't even hear it.
And then let's go to 3:20:00
Okay.
to 3:21:37. And while they're getting that, I'll just ask you the question, Dr. Hughes, do you recall that Mr. Depp said that they had fights in the places that he listed on that audio tape?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
All right. What do you recall Mr. Depp saying about fights that they'd had on that audio tape?
Objection, no foundation.
She just listened to it.
Overruled, okay.
Yeah, I think it was hard to hear in this one. I had listened to it previously, just acknowledging that there are fights previously.
Okay, thank you.
I hate how they say fights whenever it's like. I just. Oh my God. I can't hear shit.
On each other. Because as we continue,
I know.
bad. Baby, I told you this once. I'm scared to death. You're a fucking crime scene.
I know.
If we don't get our shit together, and that, by getting our shit together, that might mean fucking A, we do this, we make it. That might mean, goddamn, you know. So I've tried, done, to do. But we've got to get our shit together as individuals and as a couple. Because I love you. And I do not want to leave you in a I will recognize when I'm fucking starting to go sideways. I will recognize.
He said he's scared to death of her in the
Do you
clip.
recall listening to that part of the tape?
Didn't you guys hear
Yes,
that?
I do.
And what do you recall from that portion? Again, I know it's hard to hear, but
It's hard to hear, but what I recall from
Jesus.
hearing that was the negotiation that the couple is trying to do and trying to say, you know, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do better.
okay. Is it possible to turn that up anymore, or is it, I have one more? I'm just.
It's not about the volume. It's the background.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay, my last one is 3:26.
Okay, here we go.
To 3:29:50.
Your Honor, can we approach?
Okay, yes, sir.
It's like, dude, whenever she's like, he's literally, even in the clips, and this is what I'm saying before, right? Is like every time that you actually hear something that Johnny said or did, and it's not just hearsay, every single time it's something that's like not bad. It's like, yeah, we've got to get our shit together, or I'm scared to death of you. And meanwhile, everything else is like a, it's like a testimony.
What are we going to do different in the moment when you're mad and you go fuck it and you decide all bets are off?
Well, look what I did in Australia. Look what I accomplished. I put the fucker away. I told myself every fucking day, no, he's gone. No, he's fucking put him away. Put him away. And by a list of the things that I feel that fuck you over or make you feel shitty or anything like that, I fucking, when we're in the moment, I remember it. I remember what I put on my list. I remember it. And I try to bring it down notches, many notches. I'll try, if we're heightened, to say, I don't want you to feel this. I don't want to feel this.
I need to know what we need to do different. I need to
It's
know.
got to be done with your mind and your heart.
What do we do different if I have a problem? You need to tell me how to tell you different if I'm hurting you. You need to let me be able to be mad. Sometimes you're going to make me mad. I'm a human. I cannot live where it's like...
Well, then it's the same thing goes for me then. You're going to have to allow me to get mad.
Yes.
A gorilla
Exactly.
shits in bed. It's not a
I
human.
was
You
something
get
that makes
mad
you
and then you
mad.
start fucking yelling.
I don't have to start yelling. I think I start yelling once it gets fucking heightened. I've gotten a lot better about that. It's just I only start yelling when it's fucking hour 11 and we're really in it.
This is self-report. How did she think this was good for her?
I was talking about the yelling.
Because she obviously recorded this, not him. It's her phone. That's why you can hear her better than him. Obviously.
You witnessed it. You're the one that brought it up. Australia was fucking great. You just argued. Let's go back there. Let's go back there in our fucking heads and in our hearts. Let's go back there. And know on your
Is
list.
the monster gone? Did you put him away? It's been so, when you get on that train and you get angry, you stay on it for so long and you won't come down, you won't talk to the person that is you.
That's not always.
It doesn't have to always be the monster, but what is it? Can you put that away? Can you remember the bigger picture? You don't want to spend your life. I've asked you this so many times in fights. You want to spend your time like this. No, you don't. But I ask you because this is something you're choosing. I'm saying to you, olive branch. And you don't take my olive branches. You made me feel humiliated for offering them. You asked me to stay in Australia. I stayed, and then you walk out on me all the time. You've got to take some olive branches from me. You've got to offer them too. You've got to be bigger than what you feel at that moment. And so do I.
Remember, she
So
knows
do I.
this
But
is
if I call
recording.
you on it, will you hear it?
She knows this is
You
recording.
call me out on it if I'm doing it.
This is scripted. Yep.
Do you remember listening to that, Dr. Hughes?
Yes, I do.
And what is your interpretation?
Yeah,
of
she's
that?
baiting
What
it
do you
out
call
so it sounds bad.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
She's an expert.
Overruled.
I think this is more of how this couple is trying to negotiate in the face of all of the turmoil and the violence and the abuse. I think it's important pointing out, is my recollection is that there's two Australias. They're talking about the honeymoon Australia, not the Australia where the incident happens. They go back, and that becomes a honeymoon time for them. And I think certainly hearing how this couple has talked about the monster and the person who comes out, as we talked about that cycle of violence where the person who, hurts her and hits her and controls her isn't the
That
same
there's no
person
evidence
that
for,
she
by the way.
loves and she cares about and that she
Zero
wants
evidence.
to be with.
Including police reports.
Thank you.
No
Dr.
evidence.
Hughes. Now, you also
Nope.
were asked about Dr. Bonnie Jacobs and her
Expert
treatment
liar.
and her treatment notes. And did you review those treatment notes from Bonnie Jacobs?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to ask you to turn to, can we bring up Defendants 1059?
Okay. Here we go.
And do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Okay. And what is it?
This looks like the first of Dr. Bonnie Jacobs' treatment notes starting in October 17th, 2011.
Okay. And do you recall whether Ms. Heard was already in a relationship with Mr. Depp at that time?
Yes, she was.
Okay. And you testified quite extensively yesterday about Bonnie Jacobs' notes and entries there. Were those reflected in these notes?
These were the notes that
Objection leading, Your Honor.
I can ask it differently. And what, if any, of those citations that you gave to the jury were in these notes?
Objection compound.
Overruled.
These were the notes that I was referring to.
Oh my God.
Yesterday.
And what was the significance of these notes to you? You were asked again about them on cross.
I found the treatment notes very significant because they had contemporaneous reports of what Ms. Heard was going through, not only what she was reporting in her relationship with Mr. Depp, but her accompanying symptomatology. What the notes revealed was there's a significant amount. Well, we see it unfold in time. We see where the violence starts, and we see how it unfolds. We see at least 3 indications of sexual assaults. We see constant pleadings and upset about his substance abuse and trying to find ways to get him help. And she joins Al-Anon to get herself help as a family member of someone who struggles with substance abuse. We see how she's reporting a lot of controlling behavior and obsessive behavior. We see that there's 2 instances where the police were going to be called.
It's a metaphorical
in her apartment
see.
in Orange. Because of the fighting,
We can't
at
actually
that
see
time,
it.
Once they actually were
Yeah,
called and once they weren't,
it's metaphorical,
from what I could
guys.
amass from the notes. So what it does is it really shows how this relationship is unfolding over time and actually getting worse.
And then you indicated that Amber Heard moved from Bonnie Jacobs to Dr. Cohen, and that was in 2014. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what is your understanding of the relationship between Dr. Cohen and Dr. Kipper?
They were professional colleagues and they were friends. And it's understanding why Ms. Heard left the relationship with Bonnie Jacobs. It became a tumultuous
New York City
relationship
suing Bobby
for her
Kotick?
there
Oh my
because
God.
she was doing a lot to protect Johnny, and Bonnie Jacobs had concerns.
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the objection?
No foundation.
Shut up. How about that? How about that objection? Shut the fuck
I
up.
established the foundation. She reviewed the notes, and she interviewed Bonnie Jacobs.
I'll overrule the foundation objection.
Go ahead.
Objection non-responsive.
I'll overrule non-responsive.
Please continue, Dr. Hughes.
The reason that Ms. Heard left her treatment with Bonnie Jacobs were, one, that Mr. Depp continued to denigrate that relationship, her therapeutic relationship. But number 2, really more importantly, is that she wanted to protect Mr. Depp because she didn't want Dr. Jacobs had some concerns about perhaps his substance using in front
She's
of his
doing it
children,
for him.
and that she would
Of
be a
course.
mandated reporter. So Ms. Heard did not want to do anything to
Duh.
talk more about what was going on with about Mr. Depp with her therapist for fear that something might happen. So she left that treatment really to protect Mr. Depp.
She sure knows
Yeah,
a lot
I'd like
about
to move
Amber
the
Heard.
admission of
Wow.
Defendant's Exhibit 1059.
That's
the
not
treatment
interesting.
notes.
Objection to hearsay, Your Honor. This is what we dealt with yesterday.
Your Honor, I think that for completeness here, he's relied upon these, and they reflect the present sense impressions.
I'll sustain the objection to hearsay.
All right. Let's go to Defendant's Exhibit 1057, please.
Oh. She knows a lot about Mr. Depp without ever diagnosing him. Did she even meet him?
And Dr.
Yeah.
Hughes, you also indicated that you relied on
Holland, thanks for 5
the
subs.
treatment notes of Dr.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Conan, correct?
Cohen.
Yeah.
Connell Cohen, yes.
Did she record him to protect him too?
And-
Yeah, exactly.
And you also interviewed him as well?
Correct.
Yeah, it's a good point.
And on what was the significance of what he reported to you that related to your opinions?
Well, this was a continuation of her treatment, and the treatment here where it seemed like Dr. Connell Cohen was going was a harm reduction model, really trying to help Amber stay safe in the relationship by not talking back, by leaving, by not engaging.
Not shitting in the bed.
And those
Not
are
hitting
very
him.
sort of short-term
Yeah.
strategies when you're in a relationship mired with interpersonal
Yeah.
violence. What we also see is what I mentioned yesterday is her psychological status and functioning continues to deteriorate. She continues to have more anxiety, more affect dysregulation, sort of feelings are coming up and down all the time. She's having more sleep problems. She's going on more medication. And the sort of the conceptualization and understanding of that is, sort of exposure to repeated trauma causes psychological disequilibrium and destabilization. And we're sort of, again, seeing the trauma unfold over time. And also in these notes, I mean, certainly there are those contemporaneous reports that correspond to specific incidents, like I was speaking with you yesterday about the Boston plane incident. There are actual notes where she called him after
Objection, Your
she
Honor.
called
Yes,
him.
what's the objection?
Beyond the scope of the question.
All right,
I think
I'll
so.
sustain the objection. Next question.
Jesus. They're just not letting her talk.
What, if any, additional information?
Yeah, everybody
did
knows
you
what
get
this
from
is.
Dr. Cowan that assisted you in your opinions?
Well, certainly from the notes, as I was stating, that, there were times where right after an incident, Ms. Heard wrote, she contacted Dr. Cohen either by text or by email and saying, Johnny did a number on me tonight. I really need to see you. I'm safe. I'm hurt, but
Objection
I'm
to
safe.
hearsay.
I think she can rely on hearsay, Your Honor.
Sustain the objection to hearsay.
True. Next.
Well, Your Honor, I'm going to move the admission of the notes, Defendant's 1057.
Relying on
Objection to
hearsay.
hearsay, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objections. Thank you.
Move to strike the hearsay testimony as well.
Jesus.
No, we'll continue on. Go ahead.
Thank you. You were asked about
4 in a row,
knife.
yep.
You were shown Plaintiff's Exhibit 92 and a knife that's, I think, is till death. What is your understanding of the significance of that knife and that phrase as it related to Amber Heard?
Totally normal.
Objection, Your Honor. No foundation.
He showed it in cross-examination. I'm able to ask about it and what her understanding was. He cut her off when she was trying to talk. I'm just letting her go back in.
Her understanding of a knife?
But let's pull up Plaintiff's 92. Tom, can I get you to do that, please?
Yeah, what do you think it is? Well, if I just ask the same question, if you're like, yeah, actually, that's stupid as fuck. Just ask Amber herself. Yeah, why
I believe
isn't
you
she up there?
In response to the questions asked by counsel for Mr. Depp, you said it depends upon what the context is. What did you mean by that?
Well, first I believe that this is the knife that has a turquoise end. And this was a time when Mr. Depp was filming The Lone Ranger, and he was in a turquoise phase. And she purchased him that because she thought it would be a kind gift. The phraseology is that Mr. Depp told her the only way out of this relationship is death.
And
Objection,
what-
hearsay.
I don't understand the objection. I think she was entitled to be able to speak to that.
But she,
Well, they were
Yeah, it's
married.
Mr. Depp's statement, a party opponent
I'll
admission.
overrule the objection.
Thank you. Okay. And what is your opinion? What do you think of that as a clinical psychologist in specializing in IPV and trauma?
I mean,
Objection, Your Honor. Can we approach?
Sure.
Jesus, man. Like, this guy, you know what this reminds me of? It's so fucking funny. Like, it's like whenever you're playing fucking a rated battleground and there's like a death knight and he just keeps death gripping you and stunning you. And like you're stuck off by yourself with this death knight just hitting you, and like you can't do anything else. You're just stuck just there, and that's it. Yeah, you're basically stun locked. Yeah, you're getting spawn camped. It's bad, man. It's calling strike IRL. Yeah, this guy is. She's not having a good time.
Dr.
Chains of
Hughes,
ice.
do you
Yeah.
think that the phraseology on the knife bears any relationship or significance to the opinions you've had in this case?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
Sustain the objection.
What, if any, significance
7?
does the phraseology on the knife have to the opinions you have provided in this case?
Objection, Your Honor, beyond the scope of the disclosure.
He brought it up in
I'll
cross, Your
overrule
Honor.
the objection.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. She gets one.
So there are several things. I certainly am aware that at this time that Ms. Heard purchased this knife for Mr. Depp, she was engaged in her whole lot of denial and minimization about the extent of the violence in the
See how she's
relationship.
talking to the jury again?
There is a notation in Dr. Bonnie Jacobs'
For the
notes
emotional
about,
argument.
when Mr. Depp uttered this to
What
her.
a piece of shit.
Was around the discussions of the prenup, and he said, "I don't want one because the only way out of this relationship is death." Dr. Jacobs didn't think that that was funny. Ms. Heard was taking it like, "Oh, maybe it's endearing, maybe this is okay." But it was definitely a clinical cause of concern at the time that phraseology was used.
Thank you, Dr. Hughes. Now,
Then why'd she get him the knife that
listened
said the same
to
thing?
An audio tape, and then we showed some additional.
If it
ones
bothered
from
her
that.
so much.
What, if any, photos did you review as part of your examination?
Objection beyond the scope of cross.
He was asking all the different authority. I'm just establishing that she also looked at photos.
I'll sustain the objection. It's beyond the scope.
8? Oh
Dr.
my
Hughes,
God.
Based on
Oh my
everything in
God.
the cross-examination and the redirect, what, if any, changes do you have to any of the opinions that you provided to this jury yesterday?
Objection compound.
Overrule.
I don't have any changes to my opinions that I gave yesterday.
That's a shame.
And do you still hold those within a reasonable degree of psychological probability or certainty?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right. Is this witness subject to recall?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ma'am, you can't discuss your testimony with anybody, but you're free to stay in the courtroom since you base your expert testimony, okay?
Thank you,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
Thank you.
Man.
All right. I think we'll go ahead. Yes, sir. Okay.
Man, she just got, I mean, I just wrecked her. Yeah, that is just bad, man. That went beautifully. Yeah, it's like, I can't see her coming back, man. It's just expert testimony, more like biased expert testimony. Yeah, of course it's a bias. She was literally getting paid. And the thing is, like, here's what I always say, right? If something seems off, it's probably off. And I think that's exactly what happened. With her, there were a lot of things that seemed off, right? She's not a client. Why is the emphasis on her not being a client whenever clearly she's receiving services from this doctor being emphasized? Well, it's to make the person seem more objective and less biased. Like, that's clearly why. Why was her relationship with Miss Heard not established at the very beginning? It's because, again, it was to establish her as an authority and not a biased person. This happens again and again and again. So it's just, again, why would you do this? Why would you deviate from the norm? Well, the reason why is because you're trying to take advantage of something. That's why. And was not interviewed. They knew. Yeah, exactly. And the doctor also testified for R. Kelly. Oh my God. Could Amber forgetting she's on camera? Like, Amber first contacted her after she got sued. Well, yeah, of course, because she's trying to retroactively get a diagnosis that makes what happens to her not her fault. That's why.
Okay, let's go ahead and take our lunch break now. Just not do any outside research, and don't talk to anybody about the case, okay? We'll see you back here too, okay?